everybody, welcome to the Soul Garden. Today I'm joined with Derek, aka Dare to Know on TikTok, here to spill some really important information and just to kind of express our levels of awareness in this game of life. I think
That's right.
I mean, right, and I think we're all at different levels of this, so it's important to just take on as much as you resonate with as you can, and if you don't, then that's all good too, you know. It's like an onion, man. There's layers to this. So yeah, so dude, tell us a little bit about like how when you kind of came across the idea of the flat Earth. How long would you say this shift happened in you?
So I've always known the government was bad. From a child, I would observe the things that we were doing, and I'm like, why are we doing it like this? Why are we doing it like that? And all of the answers I'd always get were, that's just the way it is. So I've always looked into government fraud because I didn't want to be a part of it. And in 2019, I heard about the flat Earth, and I kind of laughed like everybody. And I was like, oh, okay, guys. So the first thing I did was go to naval navigation, because if the Earth is round, you navigate one way. If it's flat, you navigate a different way.
Yeah.
And what I found was that all of the navigations for the whole world are based on a flat Earth, all of them, airplanes, boats, everything. So that kind of threw me off. And so, because I thought we were a globe, I thought I was going out to prove the Earth was a globe. And then I fell into the flat Earth map, and that people saying it's just a squashed down globe.
Yeah.
And that's why it makes sense when you're navigating on the flat Earth. And so, like, I was like, okay, and I wasn't sold. I kept looking. And the more I looked into it and thought about my own personal observations, because you could tell me till you're blue in the face that Christopher Columbus knew the Earth was round while the Queen thought it was flat, or whatever the history, Copernicus. I can't verify that stuff. It's a book written by the government that I don't trust. So I was never satisfied with any of the words that they were telling me about the globe. But again, I still thought it was. I was like, well, I'll find the proof, because I'm pretty decent at thinking. I was like, I'll figure out what I could prove. And every experiment I would do, I would go drive to the ocean and attempt to look across the bay. I could see across the bay. So every little thing that I did, go to the hill next to my house, and I'd look and I'd punch in the calculations for how much should I be able to see. I'm seeing 3 times further than I would. I'd look into the globe explanation, its refraction. Didn't sit well with me. So I started to lean towards the flat Earth about 2020, when I had a lot more time to look into this.
Such a big thing.
And so, what was that?
Such a big keyframe of awareness. I was going to say, really, is, I mean, not for the obvious, I guess, for 2020, but like just for so many pushes of people's perception, right? And I think this is one of the biggest paradigm shifts, right? So yeah, sorry, carry on.
Oh, you're good, bro. Once I realized the actual, like, what happens from us believing the Earth is a globe versus flat, this is when it actually really became detrimental that I speak about it. Because a lot of people, what does it matter? It doesn't matter. The shape of the Earth matters at all. What matters is the people who are selling us on the globe are taxing us. They are sending your children to war. They're hiding technology that you'll never see that you do pay for. Medical advancements that would stop children from dying of cancer, that would stop hunger. All of these different things that they should be doing for us, and they're not. So this is when I took the angle of attack that, okay, these people are hiding a lot of different things from us. The flat Earth is the head of the snake. And what really opened my eyes was measuring the Earth. You could point something into the sky and say this. You can look at the moon and say that. But none of those things are beneath your feet. The ground beneath your feet is not glowing like a star. It's not glowing like the moon. It looks nothing like these things. So you can't really compare them. So once you actually go out and you ignore all the noise, all of the Southern Star noise and all of that, it's just background noise that they're trying to distract you because they know perception. So if you don't know how perspective works, you'll never see the truth, because these people have taken the laws of perspective, they twisted them around, and they've used them against you to tell you you live on an object that doesn't exist. Thinking that you are nothing, your soul knows, your spirit knows that you are created, that you have all this life force in you. And when that gets sniped out and you're just nothing but chemical reactions causing cancer on a globe that would be better off without you, That's trauma-based mind control.
Yeah,
And when the government spends money to traumatize their people like this, there's a reason for that. The government doesn't do stuff like this without a deeper, like, philosophical reason. And so what they've effectively done is, by convincing us we're insignificant, we're not the center of creation, we're evolved monkeys, you're nothing, you're nothing, you're nothing. It created a fertile ground for deception. So now people live in the survival of the fittest mentality. People will allow other people to starve to death because they believe that these resources are limited and that you must compete for them to be survival of the fittest. The whole Darwin idea of dog eat dog world, uh, there's not enough for everybody. This kind of thing is causing the problems that we have. And once you really dig into it, you'll realize that lacking causes 90% of the suffering on earth. People who don't have treat their children worse. Those children get abused. They grow up to be bad people. They further the abuse, and they keep the cycle going because this is what they knew as they were growing up.
It's like, going into just, it's so inject, but there's the subconscious mind. You keep the patterns, you keep the epigenetics, that you've been taught with fear, like whatever it is, it just keeps cycling on for the bigger picture. And I think, like, exactly what you're saying here is such big pieces now of the bigger picture is being chipped away, and we're starting to see, okay, so where do you stand with the idea of just with, like, the idea that how we create our own reality, like manifestation,
Yeah.
with our thoughts, and this with the idea of the flat Earth, what really brought me was, I would say, just agree with the idea of the same timeline. Really, it's like there's no such thing as coincidence. It's a coincidence of events brought on by thoughts intertwining and doing all different things. So. But there's no such thing as coincidence. Everyone come to this awareness, and with this whole, I guess, the mask of the flat Earth prior to that is quite easy to see. I mean, you only have to see the disinformation when you search for what you see, and you can't dig for the real information. And I always said the lack of the truth, the lack of being able to find the truth, is more evidence than the actual being able to prove the truth. In these.
Exactly, bro. The fact that they're burying everything is in itself proof that there's something to hide. Dog doesn't bury nothing, they bury their bone. You know what I mean? That's what the government's doing. Let me close my window real quick. And I just want everybody to understand what awareness actually is, okay? So, as you were asking, manifestation, do we create our own reality? These different things are all tied together. And whether you believe that energy is not real, it doesn't matter, because if you're in a negative mood and you go out into the world, you're going to see negative. People are going to cut you off. You're going to be mad at the person in front of you. Somebody's going to do that. And you're going to notice the bad things, because that's the state of mind you're in. And so whatever state of mind you're in, these things are what you see. Okay. So awareness is actually consciousness. The more aware you are, the more conscious you are. The more conscious we are, the better the world will be, because once you realize that every single person out there is just like you, they have wants, they have needs, they have things they don't like, things that they like, and that everybody's out there trying to be right. And when you realize this and you raise the awareness of the world and say, hey guys, like, there is enough food, nobody has to starve to death, there is enough energy, nobody needs to be homeless, nobody needs to be like, once you bring awareness to the fact that these things are real and that everybody could have them, you're raising consciousness. I personally believe in energy, and so I believe that my thoughts create my reality. And this is why I'm saying, regardless of if you think that or not, your thoughts create your reality, because when you're looking for trouble, you're going to find it. When you're going,
you can't really escape this. Like, this is the thing, is if you want to go and prove it wrong, you will kind of, you'll do that, you know what I mean? And if you want to kind of see that, you will see that with this. So yes, it has to work the other way. It's almost like you can't catch out a mirror, right? You can't really, it's already, it's a thought-based reality, right? It's energetic-based reality. So what we are perceiving has already happened in a sense, right, of time. Maybe not in this physical sense, but in a sense. And so therefore the only way to interject and to stop our Because like I say, manifestation, it has to happen all the time, right? But it's our awareness and the level of awareness that helps us kind of shift and control the reality. And I think that you say the powers that be, or have been controlling this, have been trying to dominate a timeline or perception for so long. And but this is where it goes to the question about how long, right? And you go back, like, because the evidence, okay, so they say that certain people existed and gave us these equations and so on and so on. But it's easy for these people to be fictionalized and to be suddenly placed in history, right? And then when you go back to other teachings, they far outweigh these new modern day teachings. I mean, you only have to look at just things like, never mind the flat earth, you only have to look at other things like medicine, right? And,
and look at energy, medicine, all of those things.
Look how new modern medicine is, and how much they push it, and they go, well, this is the same paradigm that they do with everything. It's a pattern in this, right? So if you lack belief that this bigger paradigm of we live on a plane, and I think my mind kind of pushed, I think probably about 6 months ago, of what else on this plane. I've got there's images out there of other lands, you say, and I think I like fantasize of the wandering islands of Thoth that I go around. And I think I might throw up an image or something from at some point. I've got it as my wallpaper because it does make you think, and then you think, well, if we're kind of giving off this toroidal field of energy within us, wouldn't it make sense that that's the pattern too, and that maybe the ice wall would be caused by the toroidal field going in and out and causing the ice particles around the edge. But then
I love that.
I mean, and maybe, but then some of the maps, again, I haven't got the map here, but as it goes out, when there's other ice walls or some of these, and it goes around to the idea of Asgard, and I love the ideas of Asgard and being out in further kind of lands, but there's supposed to be 3 kind of ice walls. Well, wouldn't that just mean that the toroidal field that comes from the center is just pinging out, right? You know what I mean? It's just, it's not that to say you can't get out, but like, I think someone said to me, a friend said to me, how it's like, like particles that when you boil in a kettle and stuff, you see the particles at the bottom and how it kind of starts corroding at the bottom and all this kind of stuff. When energy comes around, you'll see the ice. So the ice is kind of created by this going out. But anyway, that just multiplies into different worlds going around on this huge plane. But maybe Earth is what we perceive our world, the Earth plane, and other worlds are just, it's all one big infinite, what did that Ken Wheeler say, the infinite, and your video too, the infinite plane of inertia.
Yeah, exactly. We exist in between the positive, the negative field crunching together, like you were saying, the ice wall, the firmament, the things that we believe would keep us contained. I believe it's a frequency thing. And so say your body, everything in this realm is tuned to this frequency. And so it's like this firmament would just be the end of your frequency. So in order to go out of the frequency, you need to actually raise your vibration. Can you physically take your body out? Don't know. But your spirits can. Your spirit is not bound by the physical. You can do self-work, spiritual work, learn to love, to give, to raise your vibration and your energy, so that you are capable of ascending beyond what we would call the firmament. And the same way SpongeBob doesn't need to have an edge to his TV. When you're watching SpongeBob, you're not looking for the edge of the set. He's in his frequency, and I Love Lucy's in her frequency, and you tune to the frequency that is on. You know what I mean? So like when you're tuned into negative, low vibrational frequencies, sex, money, chasing these things that a lot of people do, you're kind of bound by the frequency in which you've tuned into. And so like, this is why people who are tuned in lower, they have a completely different view on life. It's because this is their perception. So like, I like to think like, okay, so is there a firmament? Is there 7 layers to this thing? Like a lot of people suggest that we're the center and that there's another one around, and it's so on and so forth, and they're all dimensional. And so when you're higher through the dimensions, you can move amongst the lower dimensions, but the lower dimensions can't move amongst the higher. So the people in the middle can't exit because they're not high vibrational enough. But the people who are above and beyond can operate differently than we. I love just talking about this stuff and trying to figure out like energy, vibration, and frequency. How do these three things play into our existence? Because we're not physical. We're just not. So to believe we need a physical edge is just, it's wrong.
I think over the last 4 years, I came across Neville Goddard, right? Through my brother sending me his teachings. You heard of him, Neville Goddard? Are you familiar with teachings from this guy?
Hollow Earth?
Yeah. Have you heard of Neville Goddard? Yeah.
I'm so bad with names. I might have heard the story. It kind of cut out. Did you say Hollow Earth?
No. So the new age teacher Neville Goddard.
Oh, gotcha. The splitting.
No. Wait, can you hear me? Okay.
It's a little choppy. Sorry.
Okay, so Neville Goddard, the teacher. Have you heard of him?
Uh-uh.
Okay, so he's a new age teacher from about the 1940s, right? And he would always teach that. He guess he's kind of famous nowadays because everyone understands that thoughts create reality. But what he kind of likes to do is likes to demystify the Bible being states of consciousness, not physical beings, you know, and understand that we are also that same energy. To some people call it like God, I guess, but it's, or, you know, some people don't like that and they call it, you've got the Messiah complex, but actually it's just energy, right, inside you. And that energy is what creates the outside world, but it's down to your level of awareness, how much that you can perceive and create, right? So just like in a video game, and like you say, the firmament is there. Well, you know, like when you play a video game and only some of the map opens up because you can only play so much, right? It's not that the whole game isn't there. The rest of the game is there, but it's
you're still leveling up.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Exactly. And then eventually, you know, you've got the whole map, right? So this is the same thing. We think that we've been told that maybe we just have, like in fiction, I guess now, the geocentric theory is it's all there. You know what I mean? There's the whole map. All the balls are out there, all maps and space and everything, right? In this sense, it kind of leaves it really lucid. Like, you know, it's down to your own perception of reality and how much you create. Because I know from my own experience from meditation and going into, I guess, altered states of consciousness, you know, practicing different states of meditation and being aware in those states, and then perceiving imaginary acts, ideas, with a sense of detachment, right, of not being me, because it's like I stepped out of a skin suit and just know I'm like, you know, the producer, the director, the author, and the actor of this play, and creating this in imaginary act. And these things have happened in my reality, and I know that, and I feel it's because that the more you detach from this reality, the more you experience awareness in this reality. So the idea, if people are watching this and they go, I don't understand flat earth, maybe not. Okay, well, one way is maybe not to follow flat earth, is to maybe expand your awareness in meditation, in detachment, right? And then you will naturally find things that will be brought into your field. You know what I mean?
Exactly. To those of you who are watching, who aren't so sure on whether or not the Earth is a globe or flat, or if you are genuinely curious, do not look at flat Earth. Please don't look at it. Yeah. Go look at the globe. This is where the data is. This is where the money's being spent. This is where the model that we are funding comes from. We don't have funding for the flat Earth, so it's all like still being discovered, right? For rediscovered, because it was already once discovered. But the globe model is where all of the data is. When you take the globe model and you apply it to reality, it doesn't work. Certain things work by themselves, but when you actually look at the whole thing, it doesn't work. The globe is the flat Earth, motion of the stars, everything from the flat Earth was taken and converted to the globe. And this is why the 24-hour sun rotation, all of this stuff makes sense independently. So go look at the globe, go try to prove the globe, go try to find real pictures of the globe. Climb a hill and measure the distance you could see. There's no better way to prove it for yourself than to actually go punch in the numbers into an Earth curve calculator and see if what you're seeing matches with reality. Because from the top of this hill next to my house, I should only be able to see 23 miles. On the top of this hill, it has the elevation and it has the mileage distance to all of the surrounding mountains. So it tells you exactly how high you are off of the ground, and then it tells you how many miles to each mountain that surrounds me. Okay. 92.5 miles to one of these mountains from the top of the hill. That mountain should be all the way behind the curve. You shouldn't be able to see it at all. And yet it's there. And you could see the bottom of this mountain, and you could see where the mountain actually meets the ground. Okay. The horizon's supposed to be 20 miles, 22 or 23 miles. So I could see 70 miles further than the horizon. So if you could see further than the horizon, it's not a globe, because on a globe, it is a physical thing that has to match the math. If it doesn't match the math, then it's not a globe.
I think I had an interview with Dave Weiss recently, and he explained a lot of these. And I think the biggest information is test it. Go and test this yourself, right? Because
look, guys.
don't go and trust Google, right? Because when you go and look at it, it's insane when you try and look in pictures of Earth, real pictures of Earth, right? And it's contradictory for things like the curvature. Okay, I'm not saying everyone can shoot a balloon up there, but when you look at even the contradictory evidence of what they give you, it's insane. And then okay, the things like moon landings, I think people don't realize, actually go and look at what they're, people just take for granted now, I think, from some things I've seen, that people say we went to the moon, but they haven't actually seen any of the footage, right, properly. I haven't actually seen some of the things and actually looked into it. So when people say, oh, it was all fake, right? They just go, whatever. Again, this is awareness and stuff. But when you actually take a bigger picture to it too, I mean, I really like Buzz Aldrin's take on it, because I said this today, but like he's so open, really, about it. He's almost like he knows he can't be open about it, but he will be obvious. You know what I mean? To his degree. So, but yeah, just take. It's ever expanding, this stuff, dude. Like, it's not just one piece. I think and what really brings it back is, like you say, it's not really the flat earth, it's not this, it's not that, it's the fact that we're being lied to, we're being controlled, we're being manipulated, right? And being told that we're insignificant and this, and we're restricted, and like you say, and all that kind of thing. And our true freedom, which we're understanding within ourselves, is within us, right? But we know that the outside world is still restricting us, and so it only comes to a point where I think our like consciousness will prevail, man. I really do. But it's just with information like this, and I think we just got to keep pushing it. Like, I think the start, two of the things that pushed it out with me was always seeing Polaris, and then knowing that the monument was knocked down recently. That's very convenient, isn't it? Right?
Oh yeah. What are the odds?
Years,
and then they demolished it right away. No investigation, just demolished it. It's like,
and then when you look at the explanation, I've been out there, I've asked questions to people, I've tried to figure it out, what they say, and they say in a nutshell, they say that we're moving at such a minute rate that it won't move. I go, sorry, man, that's BS, right? That is BS, complete BS. And that's indoctrination. It's not your fault, whoever's telling me that. It's an indoctrinated maths, like you say. It's been, the education system is just copied. It's not there. And the measurement, like you say, people are seeing like 500, never mind 8 miles, right? 23 miles, 50 miles. You're pushing 500 miles. They're seeing mountains that shouldn't see.
Definitely.
So, and that's just those two things alone is like, please push those, test them yourself. You know what I mean? And I think when you get there, people do see it. But I think something else I saw on your channel was like I'm vegan myself, and I went vegan a few 7 years ago, and I do think it's an individual consciousness thing to develop. Right? I'm not going to say you do it, I do it, whatever, right? But it just happened naturally towards me. I guess it's just happened, right? And I know I can't see anything of it. But of recent, I did notice that all the things like the pesticides and all that kind of stuff that we have in our food, and people don't realize that even being a healthy vegan, right, as you think, right, you still like taking these things in that are stopping your energy centers, let's put it that way, from developing these levels of awareness. Do you know what I mean? So it's important to check that out. I mean, what did you say the water was in one of your videos? Like
The Kangen water. Hold on.
Yeah.
So I always have it nearby because I love this stuff. It's high oxygen. It oxygenates your blood. It has hydrogen. It's microclustered. It's high alkaline. So what it does is when you drink it, like a lot of people say, alkaline water is a hoax. Okay, this water removes the free radicals from your body that make your body acidic. So it is high alkaline, yes, but the way it actually increases your organ and your blood's pH is by removing the toxins from your blood that create acidity in your system. So it's much more than just alkaline water. Everything that we're eating is full of toxins. Us being on the phone right now, we're being bombarded with free radicals that are going to store in my body, and my body's going to have to functionally remove them. They know for a fact, I could say it because it's not on the internet. I always get kicked off for saying this. Diseases can't exist in a healthy environment at all. So if they took monkeypox and they sucked it right off of somebody's face and they came up to me and stuck it in my neck, I wouldn't get monkeypox unless if my body's chemicals and the hormone levels in my body are unbalanced. So if your body's perfectly balanced, you cannot get sick. It's impossible. They could shoot you with every disease and you'll never get it. This is a scientific fact. The only way you can get these diseases is if whatever hormone that disease affects. So different chemicals in your bodies, different signals affect different diseases. So if you interfere with this one and this one, then you could get it. If you interfere with this one and this one, then you could get something else. And so this is why people who have hereditary diseases think that they're getting it from their parents. No, they're getting it because they're eating the same thing their parents are. They're drinking the same drinks their parents are. They're living in the same house their parents are. So whatever's in their environment that's causing their body to be dis-ease, like without ease, that's what actually causes the illness. And if you fix your body, you can't get sick. I've been drinking this now for 3 months, and I don't know if you know what a Rife machine is, but what a Rife machine does is it plugs you into, you get plugged in, you hold it, and it sends frequencies through your body, and it'll tell you if you have anything bad, any bad frequency at all. The guy who tested me has never seen anybody not have a single negative frequency in their body. I don't have one. And him and all of his buddies who do it, this is what they credit it to. They said they've never seen it ever. Most people have about 10 different little parasites or different ailments in your body that cause disease. Because so say if you get a certain parasite, it exerts different wastes and your body has to function to do that. This is what causes the actual illness is your body's imbalance, not the infection. Like they found that you could get measles if you match there's two hormones with measles that if you increase this one and you lower this one to a certain point, you'll get measles without ever being infected with measles. You'll just get it. It'll literally just pop into your body from that unbalance of your hormones. It's literally like that. So your Wi-Fi, your cell phone service, radio waves,
It's all
the
there.
food you eat.
It's all there to, like, I guess in a simple form, is to lower your field,
Yes.
to attack that field so it can attach like this.
And just another scientific fact, no arguing this period, you just cannot argue it. Somebody who is vibrating on a higher level can't get sick either. This is something that they could test with a voltage meter, and they could, I don't know where they plug it, but they'll plug it into you and they'll tell. And if your body's over an X amount of voltage positive, you can't get sick. And people who are low voltage or like once you drop below a certain point, they're always sick. So like people who are sick are below a certain voltage, every one of them. And same thing with their hormones and these different balances. You're an electric being. You were talking earlier about like what God is, right? God is everything. It's the energy that we exist. We're operating like your consciousness is, right? And so you're enjoying this beautiful creation where you're supposed to be experiencing and like collecting different experiences through your life. And like choosing God out of love and not fear that's what it is. You shouldn't fear God. You shouldn't do things because you're afraid. You do it because you love and respect the things around you. I would never go cause harm, not because I'm afraid that I'll go to hell, but because I know that you and everybody out there has what I have, and they don't deserve it regardless. And this is what they've tuned us out to. They've created God separate from you. They put him on a pedestal and created us to like fear and act certain ways when really You like, and people call it worshiping the creation, and that's not even it, because you know that labeling God, like saying God is this person or whatever, devalues God because he's way more than just a name. And so, like, I call him Abba, Father, which is the creator. It is the source of all things.
But they
And
put it as a fear, like you say, and they put it further away from us. So it's
they
exactly, you know what I mean. So once
they
you,
take it away from you.
recognize,
I don't have Messiah complex. If you ask anybody who, if you were to tell me, oh, run for president, like people do, I say, let's all just go together. Like, because there's so much stuff that I don't know that I'd love to have other people who we can all talk together. I think we're all equal, and that it doesn't matter who you are. You have something to offer the world, because the world has set it up in a certain way where it's one standard, like you either got to do this or you're a complete failure. It creates issues, but everybody has something to offer, regardless of what it is. You've got something to offer. But we don't know what that is because money gets in the way. You don't have the ability to go out and experience the God given world you live in that was made for you. If you knew you were created and this place was given to you at birth, you wouldn't be paying the government to buy land, to pay taxes, to do these different things because it's your birthright. And this is what they've stolen from us.
I think when you look at things like money and what they teach us, they put it further again, further away from us, and saying
Farther away.
it's a money is one vibration. It's all one vibration. Whether it's a penny, whether it's £1 million, $1 million, you know, it's one vibration. And the
It's right.
denominations, I think Alan Watts talks about this as well. And you know, it's all the same. And when you recognize that one vibration, and when you they talk about matching vibration, well, that's about becoming equal to it and seeing it at the same level as you and not further away from you. Because, like I say, going back to this energy, this electric energy, that this source that we are, that's what it is. And when you attach to that through meditation, just stopping for a bit, you know, like just that's what I say to people as well. Just like I've met people that work in supermarkets, stressful 9 to 5s, can't get out of it. I say, how often do you just stop? Oh, I haven't got time for that. I go, just stop, right? 15 minutes, just stare at
That
the.
breaks my heart. That's it. I'm fighting for them. The people who, without the whole system would crumble. Without the supermarket people, the system would crumble. Without the truck drivers, the system would crumble. Without the shelf stockers, the system would crumble. But these people have to work harder than anybody for less than everybody. Okay. And that's just simply not fair. McDonald's profits $23 billion a year. They pay their average employee about $28,000 a year. If you were to increase everybody who worked at McDonald's pay wage to 60,000, which would be a decent livable wage, McDonald's would only lose $4 billion a year. They'd have 19 billion instead of 23 billion. The reason why McDonald's doesn't want to do that is because they want to spread their cancer. So they want to have $23 billion a year so they could open 11 new stores every year around the world and spread this cancer out and suck life out of other people, get people to work for them who are going to be on welfare while they want to keep spreading. The fact that we allow somebody like Walmart to employ people 40 hours a week, they're making billions of dollars a year and even a month, and their people are on welfare. No, that's unacceptable. There should not be a way where the few people do no work at all. They make all of the money while they work us to death. Okay, that's what's happening. If we like when people say, you want a $15 an hour to flip a burger at McDonald's, the paramedics only get $15 an hour to drive an ambulance. I get so mad when I hear that because the paramedic driving the ambulance should be getting hundreds of dollars an hour because it's $3,000 a mile to drive somebody to the hospital in the ambulance. It's $3,000 a mile. So they get 15 bucks to drive. And like we think it's a problem that the people at McDonald's want $15 an hour. The same people who will say that will also complain about the food they get from these places. They're like, they can't make my burger right, blah, 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 blah. If you spent 40 hours of your week working and you went home and had to choose between shoes for your kid or dinner, I wouldn't make your food right either. But forget you. I wouldn't care. Like, why would you care? You don't care about me. Why should I care about your reputation? And so they slap food together. But if they were being paid a better wage where they went home and could eat what they wanted, go on vacation, drive the car they want, have a decent home because they are carrying the whole community, they would make your food better. It's just how it would work. And so we're in this weird system where they've taught us that they've taught us how to treat each other, because instead of us looking at the people at McDonald's or Walmart and saying, hey, these people deserve more. We're looking and kicking the turd downhill further. So all we're doing is, instead of turning around and looking up the hill where all of the problems are coming from, we've been trained to look at the people beneath us and kick the turd towards them. And they'll do the same thing. They'll just keep kicking it down until it falls all the way down to the people at the bottom and piles up down there. And then like it just gets worse and worse and worse. We need to turn around and look up the corporate chain and demand these people to treat their, like, to pay properly. I think if we removed, so McDonald's makes $23 billion a year. They're done. They don't need any more money. I would remove these people. I would keep their companies, and I would allow the people who are working for them to make more money. So instead of the money going up and over to Vanguard, it goes outwards to the people who are working. And then those people can invest in their own community to create new food places. In 10 years' time, you don't have McDonald's, you don't have Walmart, you don't have these big corporations, because the people who were working for them took their higher wages and opened up other businesses, and we create a community of food, clothes, all of these different things. Because right now you get your shoes from Nike or Reebok or Adidas, right? It doesn't matter if you're in Oregon, New York, Texas, or even Japan.
It's all the same, controlled
It's
by
all the same. And this is so ridiculous. You should be able to come up to my state and get different clothes, like warmer clothes, Northwest foods, like super healthy berry food, and then go down to Texas and get fried food in different cultures. And everything should be culturized for its area. And the world would be way more beautiful with more diversity.